Hey everybody, we're back to finish off this maniple. I know I kind of promised you guys that we would do that, so here we go. If you missed the other video on how to apply galloon around the edge of a Roman maniple or a Roman stole, you can go back and watch that. But this is kind of the next step, all right? So what we have here is my Roman maniple. And you can see all the lining is pinned. I'll show you, I also have a video about how to tuck and pin. But we have our lining, and you can see in here, Tony has wrapped it over and tucked it in, and then she pinned it. So we have this pinned all the way around, like so. You know, you can kind of see here how this sticks out just a little bit. That's going to be fine, because when we go to sew it, we're going to use our handy dandy little tweezers to tuck that as we go, okay? But before we get to sewing around the outside edge, the first thing we need to do is get ourselves a piece of elastic. So what I have here is 1/2 inch elastic. I like the 1/2 inch. I think you could probably use 3/4 of an inch. I don't think using anything smaller than a 1/2 is going to be a good idea though. So I cut these at 11 inches. If you have a guy that's on the bigger side with a large wrist or something, you may want to cut it at 12 or 13. Just give it a little extra room. And then you're going to overlap it here. By like 1 inch, okay? And I like to pin it just so it doesn't shift around on me, because we're going to kind of sew this blind. I used to really obsess about making this look perfect up under there, and like, oh, is it perfectly in the middle? Is it, you know, whatever. It turns out I don't think anybody ever looks. So I just try not to obsess about it too much anymore. So this is the first thing. You want to get your piece of elastic out and ready. And I apologize, I have a cold right now, so. And then you want to get your ties ready. They're not really ties, they're more like connectors. But what I like to do is I like to take a piece of galloon here, and 8 inches is about what you need. So I would cut 8 inches. And then I like to put a piece of sewing sticky tape, like a 1/4 inch along that, and then I stick it together, okay? Like this. I stick it together. And then I'm gonna sew, you know, this wouldn't be there. I'm gonna sew along this line and that line, and it's gonna make a nice little tie, so that on both sides it's nice and finished. Okay, so I have 2 of those. They end up being about 4 inches each, and then I have my middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our center, and I'm just going to place it behind here. Now if you need to, the whole point is that you feel it behind this part of your cross, okay? You want to just do your best to center it right there behind that cross, okay? I'm going to pull that to the side so it's out of the way. And we're going to get it up under here. The biggest problem, you know, is just making sure that it's kind of centered on this part of the cross before we go to sew it. If you feel like you need to, what you can do is pin it. Sometimes I'll do that. So I take it here, and again, I'm just feeling and I'm making sure with my fingertips on the other side. I'm just making sure that I feel it right where I put this guy. All right. And then I'm going to pin it down here a bit. Again, feel it again, make sure it's in the right spot. And then I'm going to pin it here. Okay. That's going to keep it kind of from moving around on me. So these two pins aren't through, those two pins are just through my elastic. And then these two pins kind of are out of the way, but they just hold it down. So I'm going to get this up under here. And I'm just going to run a single line down and a single line back. Dropping stuff. Okay. I'm going to go down and back. Let's see, I'm going to see if I can't get this. Okay. And then my line back. I just use the reverse button. You can just flip it around if that's what you want. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so it doesn't really mar up our cross too much. Now, what I mean by when I say I don't focus on it being perfect. So this guy is, you know, clearly it's off center. Just a little bit off center. I'm not going to obsess about that. It's going to stay in there. It's going to be secure. I don't know that anybody's ever going to flip it inside out and look at it, except for maybe if you're ever looking at my stuff and you want to see it and you go, oh, she doesn't do it perfect. It's a revelation. Here we go. But that's secure. That's secure. That's not going anywhere. Okay? And really, they're just going to put it on their wrist like this. Okay? Let's see now. Okay. Now, tip number one, when sewing one of these Roman maniples, is these guys are going to be placed 10 inches down from your center. I have mine marked here. Okay, right here. So he's going to go, this guy's going to go in here like this, in between the two. Okay, like that. All right. But I'm not going to start here, and I'm also not going to start down here like I normally would. I'm going to start on the other side, just on the other side of where my first tab would go. So I have, here's my 10-inch line. I'm going to go like, you know, an inch away from that. I'm going to put this here. We're going to go about an inch away from that. I'm going to tuck it. So I use this and I swipe it inward like this, okay? I'm going to tuck that in so that everything is flush. Okay. I don't like to do a lock stitch when I start. I just start with the straight stitch and I go around with the straight stitch, and whenever I end at that spot, I'm going to do that lock stitch. Now, maniples can be pretty tricky at the end, which is why I want to show you guys. So we're just going to go around this very edge like usual. I'm taking out, let's see if I can't get this to zoom in a bit for you guys. Woo! Sorry. I am really not great at this camera thing. Do you want to hold it? Okay. There we go. You can just... Ashley's going to hold it for us. Okay, so I'm just going to go around like this. And you can zoom in if you need to, or zoom out or whatever. Just so they can actually see what I'm doing here. Okay. There we go. All right. Make sure when you're coming around to this area that your thing is out of the way, your elastic. And I just use this to double check that tuck. When I get around here to the end, this particular maniple does not have fringe, but we're going to talk about fringe and how you add fringe to a stole or a maniple after it's already been tucked and pinned and all that good stuff. This is the method that you're going to use for a stole. The difference being that with a regular priest stole, obviously you don't have any kind of tie-in. Okay, so I'm coming up close. So I'm getting out my first tab. So we go tab 1 is going to go ahead and go in. I like to pick a spot on the pattern. It's about 10 inches, but I like to pick a spot on the pattern. So if my pattern had a spot, you know, at 9.5 inches, I'd probably choose that spot. But I like this little leaf because I can see it on both sides. It's a really easy spot to kind of orient this to. Okay, we're going to go around this corner here. These are craft tweezers that you can buy on Amazon. Like, they come in like a 3-pack or something crazy. I mean, you can get like 6 of these and have them around because I love them. Have them at every workstation. Have them at on every corner. They're my favorite. Okay, so I get down to this corner here, and I always like to just pull it out a little bit. Doesn't matter how well it's been tucked. You know, I like to do it there at the end, and then I make sure my corner looks perfect. I can see it sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to work on that a little bit more. All right. Okay. No, I don't like that little twinge there. So yeah, you got to work with it a little bit. Some of this stuff doesn't just happen easy for anybody. Okay, and I don't like the way this is sticking out, so I'm going to work on it a little more. Okay. Pull that guy up. Let's see here. Sometimes I turn this corner in like you're wrapping a present. Ooh, now that looks nice. Here we go. Make sure we don't have any frayed bits coming out. Now look at that. That's good. All right. Now look, around this moment here is if you have your fringe. All right, now I'm going to give you the fringe tip of the century. Okay, can you see this fringe here? All right, this fringe is very it unravels on you extremely easy. So what you're going to want to do is take some glue, some craft glue, sewing glue, whatever, and a Q-tip. And you're going to lay out your long line of fringe. And at the spots you're going to want to cut, you're going to want to take that glue and you're going to rub it. Like say I want to cut here, you're going to rub it on each side of that. Okay, and then you're going to let that dry. Then you're going to flip the whole thing over and you're going to rub it on the other side in the spot that you want to cut it. You know, we lay it out on the measuring table so that we know if we need 8-inch pieces. We rub across that 8-inch piece and then we go down and rub it across the 16-inch. Okay, so that then we're cutting right here and it's going to be glued on both sides of that cut. And when you do that, I mean, this is just, it will never unravel on you. And then you don't have to deal with like tape and it sticking out and all this kind of stuff. You can see this side was not glued and it's kind of, you know, it's a little loose. Obviously, I'm not using fringe with this, but if you were to use fringe, this is the point where you would begin to insert your fringe, okay? And you're going to get this guy up here. We've already fixed our corner, made it look really pretty, and now we're going to insert our fringe here. And what's nice about that glued fringe, because it's not going to unravel on you, you really can put it right to the edge of that balloon. And then as you go, you're going to do like this. So I'm going to actually go around this corner here, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like from the other view to be inserting that glue. Whoa. Whoa. All right. Messing with that fringe messed up my corner. So now we're turning it this way. Now if I'm inserting fringe, clearly I've already got it in there, but as you go, you make sure this is all straight. You know, all those frayed bits you don't want out. We stuck them in. You're just going to take this guy and continually stuff him in as you sew. So you sew a little bit, you take more out, you stuff more in. And you just want to be careful that you know how much you're stuffing in so that it's even all the way down. You don't want, you know, this part sticking out. So make sure that goes right up under your balloon there. And you just continue down stuffing it in. I'm always happy when we don't have to do fringe though. It's kind of a pain. All right. Now you can see it start to kind of bubble up here. Okay, when I release these pins, it's gonna pull out a little bit, so we won't have that problem. And this was where I started and stopped my galloon. So I've got a little bit of fraying happening here that I can take care of real quick. I often work on cleaning these up or doing little things to them as I'm going around, you know. But when I get to this spot, I'm really going to want to make sure that this part gets tucked all the way up there. All right, that it doesn't somehow get pulled out. And then I have this weird, you know, curve to my corner. You want to make sure it's nice and tucked, that everything's up there like it should be. Again, we're going to worry about that corner when we get up to it. Okay. So I'm going to take that one out. Boom. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay. Now I'm going to wrap that in like a package. Okay, push this in. Got a lot of pieces kind of to hold together right here. So I'm going to get to this corner because I like the way that corner looks. I'm going to turn it. And now I can kind of address this and get that. Let's get that guy in. Up under there. There we go. Got to get my other tie ready. Because once I get to the top of this, so see how now this is smoothing out. It's coming out now. And it's not as tight. As soon as we took those few pins out, it released a little bit. So we have tie number 1 on this side, and we're going to put tie number 2 on this side. Okay? So once we get to that other side, where this is, okay, so now okay, it's going to get tricky here. Hold on. So we're going to get we're going to have to, now it's got to get attached. Which is why we didn't want to get that first one done on this side. We want to do the ones on the opposite end first. Now, I'm coming up on this. Okay, now I'm coming up on this. I've got to take, okay, the flap from the same side, okay, the tie from the same side, and I'm going to put it over here. So I'm going to put it through like so. And then we get this all straight. This one is going to go right in here. And so now I'm just going around that bottom edge, but you see how these two are now connected. It's going to get a little hairy here in a minute when we do that final connection, which is why we set it up to end right after that final connection is made. That way you're not working around that problem. Oh, it looks like I started that. Do we have... I think Mary Grace was going to start this for us, and I told her I was going to be doing a video for you guys, so we're going to take all that out. Okay. Now, let me get these out. Okay. That, and she didn't start in the right place, because, like I said, it gets difficult if you don't start it in the right spot. Tricks you only learn by doing a ton of these things. Okay. See, it kind of gets in the way there. Okay. Oh, she already fixed that corner. Nicely done. Okay. I'm going to do the same here. I believe when we did our galloon video on our maniple, I used 2 short pieces of galloon. So I have another end here. See how that's sticking out in 2 pieces? That's all right. We'll fix her up. Okay. Okay. Okay, and go. Fixing our corner and coming around. Now this is where it gets super irritating. So hold on. We're coming up on our final tie. I think we can do it. Can we do it this way? Can we do it? Oh, shit. How do we do it? How do we do it? I don't remember. Okay. But this is why it gets hairy. Because you got to get that. Okay, so we're in a spot now where we've got this piece here. See, these two are done on the same side. We had it connected here. And we brought it around and we connected it here. So now that's connected on the same side, but we have to get this connection in here as well. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just bend this guy back. All right. And now I can insert it without a problem. At my spot here. There we go. So we go. But you see why you wouldn't want to have to go around this whole thing with these two connected so soon. Whoa! And that would be why. Because it can jump on you and act stupid. Okay. And we're just going to go past our sew point a little bit, and then we're going to back hop it. Okay. So now that last stitch caught me off guard, but I was able to pull the needle back up. Okay. This got caught on this gear that goes up and down back here. So now we have a manifold that's finished. Right and wrong sides. There we go.